Welcome to S&C Sidebar, where we talk with our different partners about some of the most interesting legal issues they've seen in their careers and what they are seeing on the horizon, among other topics. Today we are joined by Ben Beller, who is a partner in the firm's general practice group. His practice focuses on bankruptcy and restructuring. Ben clerked for the Honorable Robert E. Gerber and the Honorable Shelley Chapman, who I know quite well, of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the Southern District of New York. I'm Jay Clayton. Ben, it's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you for having me.
You've been a partner, well, rather recently, but you had quite a lengthy career. Let's start with the most interesting aspects of that lengthy career. Maybe one in private practice and something from your time in government service?
Sure. I've been lucky to have worked on some areas of really untested law, especially in the last couple of years. And I think everybody probably knows that we represent the FTX debtors and can imagine that case has brought up a number of really interesting areas of untested law. And there's kind of two buckets. One is about cryptocurrency, since the number of cryptocurrency bankruptcies before 2022 were essentially zero. There was one small one that everybody forgets now, but even before FTX filed for bankruptcy, we were working on some areas, some cases that were in the crypto space that for some of the other cryptocurrency companies like Voyager and Three Arrows and Celsius that brought up a ton of really interesting areas of law. And those then segued into our representation of FTX once that company filed in November of 22. I've also been working on the Kitty Fenwell bankruptcy, which has also brought up new areas of law, mainly because of changes in law, which is different than FTX, where it was cryptocurrency untested space. In Kitty Fenwell, it's one of the first mass tort cases to be dealing with the post-Purdue Supreme Court decision about third-party releases and how debtors and stakeholders will deal with that.
When you're faced with a new asset class and kind of fitting that into traditional bankruptcy law, or new developments in bankruptcy law tested for the first time in a particular context, how do you think about it? How do you map it back to something you know? What's your approach?
It's a good question. There's a few different ways we triangulate around it. One is, initially we said, what is the closest analogy to this situation? And in the cryptocurrency space, the main analogy that we first were focusing on was foreign exchange. And so that became a big piece of our investigation. Then on top of that, we looked to our friends at the SEC and the CFTC, which were in parallel evaluating cryptocurrency and how it fit into those frameworks.
And I find that to be one of the most interesting aspects of digital assets, cryptocurrencies, is that it is a global market. And most of the U.S. regulatory regime is set up within the geographic jurisdiction and some reach of the U.S. It is what I would say, an industry that has grown up globally and at the retail level instead of nationally and at the institutional level. It presents a lot of challenges.
I agree with you. It's almost come into the U.S., and so many of the cryptocurrency companies were based outside of the U.S., and that presents its own issues in terms of how U.S. law applies in bankruptcy in particular, a very complicated area about extending fraudulent transfer law extraterritorially and all of that.
Yeah, I think that the agencies should be thankful for the job that has been done in the FTX bankruptcy. I don't hear many complaints about the resolution of a highly complex and challenging situation. I don't know, maybe I'm just not reading the right papers, but it seems to me that your constituencies are fairly satisfied.
One of the great things about the FTX case generally is that you actually don't hear a lot of complaints from pretty much anyone, at least from an organized perspective. The government, the customer groups, the non-customer groups, all of the organized groups in the FTX case, we have worked very well with, hand in hand with. Our view has always been those are the stakeholders, and there's been a tremendous effort to work together and cooperatively with them. Of course, there are some people out there who object and who have their own parochial issues, but I think that there has been a lot of effort to coordinate with the CFTC and the SEC and the other government agencies. And the other interesting thing about the SEC and the CFTC is that they have been taking different positions about cryptocurrency in the lead up to it. And so I think everyone recognizes that there's uncertainty and the FTX case has brought some certainty in some ways to it. I think there's still more to come.
Yeah, I often say that in complex policy areas, the reward for a good job is silence. So I think you've done a pretty good job. That leads me into, and you mentioned multiple constituencies, the generalist, we call it, approach here at S&C to practice, which not everybody knows everything. But talk about how your skills in bankruptcy and in business matters, how you draw on those skills and use the skills of other partners here to be able to bring a comprehensive approach to a problem like FTX or others.
It's a huge benefit for our practice because in the restructuring space, we view ourselves as the coordinators, right? And so much of our work is making sure that if we need litigators, if we need M&A lawyers, if we need regulatory lawyers, whatever it may be, that we have the full scope covered and can bring everybody in to really do whatever needs to be done. Because at the end of the day, restructuring is a means to a transaction.
Right. You have asset sales, and you've had multiple asset sales in connection with the FTX matter.
Exactly. And there's and same in Kitty Fenwell, that's an asset sale and then a distribution of proceeds according to the bankruptcy process, right? And so at the heart of all restructurings is a transaction, and our job is to consummate that transaction no matter whatever we need. And having the generalist approach at S&C and having access to all kinds of lawyers, especially such quality lawyers, really is a hugely valuable piece of our business.
Yeah, I'm going to focus in on an aspect of that I don't think we talk about enough, which is speed. In these types of situations, generally you have people who are owed money. It's much the same as people who are defrauded or people, they are owed money. Getting their money back in a year or two, or hopefully even sooner, is how much better than 5 years?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I was just having a phone call with someone about how to navigate net present value issues in bankruptcy, right? And so there's a huge impact on whether you're getting your money back in 2 years or 5 years, right? Especially in a high inflationary environment. So the ability, and that's one of the things we pride ourselves on FTX, right, is that 2 years ago, this company filed and it was a mess. And 2 years later, we're coming out of bankruptcy and we're making distributions in the near future.
I think that's immensely important. The concept of time rarely shows up in law books or what I would say is assessment of cases. Mm-hmm. And it's crucially important to what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day, which is the maximum return for the people who deserve it.
Completely right. And we end up dealing with this in a fair number of situations, actually, most recently in some of our creditor side representations, where there are disputes about whether if you're getting your money in 2-3 years, even if you're going to get all of it, are you really unimpaired, as we say in our space, which means are you really made whole? And the answer under what bankruptcy courts have said is no. Mm-hmm. And this comes up in make whole litigation. It comes up in all kinds of situations. I think the time value of money is crucial to the restructuring business.
Time is money. So let's move on. That's a business concept, which segues into my next question. Working with clients and developing a strong and productive relationship with them, understanding their business, how do you do it? What's your technique?
Number one, and I've learned this from the judges that I've worked with and the excellent lawyers that I've worked with, is you need to make it easy on your clients. That is your job. And your job as a trusted advisor is to help your clients with whatever it is that they need. And one of the ways that I try and do that is to be thoughtful about what our clients need, not just on the legal side and with this document or whatever it is, but at a higher level.
Clients vary widely. What they need varies depending on the industry, depending on their outlook, their objectives. How do you get to know a client and understand what their idiosyncratic or individual needs are?
So certainly it takes a lot of effort and time outside of the ordinary course, we'll say, of giving them legal services, right? And whether that's having meals or having kind of more personal experiences. I've been lucky enough to work with some clients that have become friends over the years, in particular clients that are repeat customers, so to speak, where we've been doing multiple deals for them every year for 3 years. You end up spending a lot of time talking. and then you end up spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, I find it to be one of the more rewarding aspects of this job is understanding how people approach their business and what makes them tick and how they've become successful and the challenges they face. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. And one of the things that over the last, we'll call it 4 or 5 years for me, has become clearer is you start to see the differences in how different clients think about the world and think about their business and think about their lawyers. And all of that needs to be tailored to them and what they really need. And you have some clients who always are predictable in how they're going to view a situation, and that becomes part of how you give advice to them. And you have other clients that you never really know, and that becomes part of the process with those clients. And understanding they're, at the end of the day, our clients are people.
There's more than one path to success, however it's defined, in almost all cases.
Sure.
Yeah, fascinating. So for associates, people you work with, again, on that theme of more than one path to success, and each person sort of selects their individual path, what advice generally and specifically would you give to the associates that you work with on how to become a better lawyer, be happy in their job, find success?
I think it's a common piece of advice, but the concept of ownership. And it's not just ownership over your work stream and what you're told to do or asked to do. There is a concept of ownership over the relationship with the client, with the matter, and there's also ownership over your career. And I think both of those go hand in hand and are very, very important for associates to focus on. And one piece of advice that I always give is every single phone call, every single meeting that you go into, you should be prepared to lead that phone call, even if you're never going to be doing it.
Well, that's fabulous. Ben, it's been great to talk to you today. Any final thoughts on just what you enjoy about the law and what you enjoy about practicing at S&C?
Well, I came over to S&C in 2020, and we've covered some of it, but one of the great things about this firm is the people. And the people here are terrific lawyers, they're terrific people, and it's been a pleasure to work with everyone here over the last 4 years. So that's really the thing that keeps me coming back.
Well, it's great to have you. I'm glad you came, and I wish you tremendous success going forward. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Jay.